Good afternoon, welcome along to Training Tuesday. Back to you live from Southampton this week. And you may be aware now, well maybe you're watching on YouTube, we are now streaming Training Tuesdays not only to Facebook but also to YouTube. So hello to those watching this on YouTube as well. This is our third week of this. So third week streaming to YouTube and our third of our, what we're calling our, something like what we're calling it, Festival Busking Special or something along those lines. You've had Chip for the last 2 weeks, who's had the exciting bit to talk about what to do with playbacks, and last week with executes, he's had the exciting ones, and today I get to talk to you about patching in and some patching tricks and things. As ever, it's a completely live session, so anything really could happen. But also, please do feel free to ask questions in the chat as well. Now we have to multitask because we're watching a chat in both Facebook and YouTube, so we'll try and keep up with both of those at the same time and see how we go. So let's dive straight into Magic Queue here, and I'm using Chip's show file that he was using for the last couple of weeks here. What's this week? Well, this week we're talking about patching in. So we're assuming that you've already pre-built a bit of a show file already. You've been watching Chip's sessions for the last couple of weeks, so we're assuming that you've probably built what might be your kind of Busk show file. You've built your playbacks out already. You've built out an execute or maybe a couple of execute pages. Here you go. Here's our color picker here, which is driving colors for my spots, which I've brought on here using playback 1. And okay, so great. I want to patch in. So yeah, some of the patching in things are more obvious. You know, cloning and morphing, for example. Now, I should mention that this show has been built with group queues. So if I go to my setup window and I go to view settings and I go to queue storage here, you can see this bottom option here is set to prefer group queues. Now, if you've not come across group queues before, fundamentally, I'm not sure if Chip covered this while he was building out playbacks in week 1, he probably did, but group queues changes how queues are recorded on the console and is different from how most other consoles are thinking still. We're thinking here of programming on groups. So if I take group 1 here, which is these currently Vipers on the front truss here, and I locate them, and I go to color, and I put them in red, and I go to position, I put them in the fan out position, let's go there, the cross position here, which is currently my soft palette. So I've gone and put something in the program with these. Now if I go and look in the programmer, you can see I have one thing and one thing only here. I only have group 1, which is the Vipers, and you can see it's referencing palettes, it's referencing the palette called soft palette, it's referencing my red color palette, and everything else is at L, which is locate, because I press locate. Now if I go on and record a cue, so I'm just going to put that on playback 10 here, and let's bring this down on playback 1, the cue plays back, and if I run the cue here, you can see it's got one thing and one thing only in there, which is group 1, with my reference to a soft palette with palettes there, but it's not got all the individual heads. Now this is true for all of the playbacks that Chip's programmed in this show file. So if I go to playback 1 and click on the queue, you can see it's referencing groups. It's referencing group 1 and also group 41 in this queue. So we're taking here the position from group 1, and we're taking intensity from group 41, and so on there. So if I step through the queues there, you can see exactly, okay, we've got group 1 and 41 in here. If I look in my group window, group 41 is the front spots and group 1 is all of the Vipers there. So actually they've got the same heads in each one of these groups at the moment. It's the same thing. But actually, you know, maybe I end up with some different spots somewhere else. So hence, you know, if the idea of group queues is you update the group and it updates anything programmed within. So if I release playback 1, so there you go, we're running playback 10 here. I recorded that with group 1. The big thing with group queues is that if I go to view heads here, and if I take out 2 heads, so I'm going to take out heads 112 and 111, and I re-record the group. You can see the playback's active at the moment. I re-record this group, watch my visualizer here for the last 2 here, and I hit yes. You can see they've been taken out of that queue. You can do this real time. We work with effects in the same way as well. We call it group effects. So anytime you change the contents of your group, your queues anywhere on the desk are updated. So it means you can change the number of heads. So coming back to patching in then. So in my patch window here, let's have a look at our spots here. So at the moment, I've got Mac Viper performances, and I've got 12 of them in this show file. So I've pre-built this show, as I say, using Vipers as my spots. I turn up at the venue, different spots. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to go to choose head, and I'm going to choose the heads that I've got in the rig. Now, quick patching, you know, often at these festivals, live events, you haven't got a lot of time for patching. Maybe you pre-programmed the show, on your rental, it said there was going to be Vipers there, but now you've turned up, something else is there. you know, it's some Chauvet spots. Hooray, we've got Chauvet spots instead of Vipers. So I've gone to patch, I've gone to choose head, we've got a massive long list of heads. I've forgotten my keyboard, I'm on a console, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to go to the filter over here. Now, this is often forgotten about the filter here. You can filter and show exactly what's patched in the show file, so I can quickly grab one of those heads in the show, patch another one. Well, it doesn't really help me because it's going to show me my Mac Vipers. I'm going to go over to live, and here you'll find the more professional brand fixtures in here. You'll find your Chauvet Pros, your Clay Packies, your GLPs, etc. inside this folder, Ayrtons, etc. there. So again, it's filtering out the kind of a disco China stuff that you would find when you're in the alt view. So again, it's yeah, okay, great. I can go to the Chauvet Pro folder. Again, it's only showing me the Pro heads. It's not showing me Chauvet DJ. So what have I got? Well, now I can start filtering down. Okay, in the rig, I've been given some Maverick MK2 spots. Great, what a lovely fixture. And I'm going to go and put them in advanced mode. So if you're new to doing this, you can see in the patch window at the top of the window, it says to me here, Chauvet Pro Maverick MK2 spots in advanced mode. It tells me the first 3 address and channel. I don't want to patch anymore. I want to replace them. So I'm simply going to grab these and I'm going to hit morph head and I'm going to hit yes, and it's going to replace them. I'm going to, just for argument's sake, keep the same DMX addresses. If I wanted to, I could change them. And for example, I could type in here 1 - 1, enter, and you can see it's renumbered those incrementally, not leaving a gap between them. I can see some great comments in the chat. Martin, hello, I am reading these. I've got my wonderful spots here. Now, a quick shortcut for you. We sometimes get asked, what about if I just say, okay, well, actually, I'm going to put these on, say, Universe 64 starting at channel 1. I want to put them, say, on Universe 1, but wherever I've got a free address. Okay, well, bear with me because I know that I've got channel address 1 free. What you can do, there's a little shortcut, lesser known shortcut. If I type in here +1 - 1, enter, what it would do is it will look for the next free address on Universe 1, starting at channel 1, and patch them at the next free address on that universe. So I don't have to go looking through and go, oh, hang on, the next free address is at channel 20 or from there. So if you type in +1 - 1, it basically says from this universe and this channel, go and patch it on the next free address. I could type in +1 - 100 and it would go, okay, look after 100 and patch wherever there's free there. Quick shortcut for you. So, okay, I've got 12 of them. Well, actually, lucky me, in this rig, they've actually given me 14 of them. So what am I going to do? Well, actually, the traditional way would say, okay, we'd take 2 of them and we'd hit our clone head here. And what we do is it would essentially take these and whatever, I'll do one. If I just grab one of them here, I'll just do it with 1. And I hit clone head there, yes, and say, okay, do I want to clone it in the queues and palettes? Yes, done. And it makes a copy of it. Okay, I might need to change the head number. Okay, I can see in this show file I've got a Magic HD head that starts at 1013. That's just going to trip me up, so I'm going to move those and I'll come and fix that later on. So I'm going to put these on 2013. I'll have to change those in the media window later, but just so I don't get confused. And then I'm going to move this one to 1013 just so I know what's going on. Okay, so I've got, oh no, that's not right, is it? The spots are up here somewhere, aren't they? They're not at 1013, they're probably 101 starting, aren't they? Let's have a look. So where are my lovely Chauvet spots here? Okay, so I do have some more Vipers. I didn't clone all of them. It says 113, isn't it? Okay, so we're not going to change the head number for now because I can't bother to change that. But I've got my 13th spot somewhere down here. I called it 1013, didn't I? There it is. There's my 13th spot. Now, because I've cloned it, you'll notice that it's already popped it in the group here. There's 13 of these sitting in this group here, already group 41. Anything that was using group 41, so the queue that Chip made in his show file here, if I bring this on, you can see, yeah, it's brought those on now. There you go, positions are slightly off because these ones need to be put back in to a palette there. Of course, I need to tweak some positions. We can't guess where things might be on a truss, etc. But you can see queue has automatically been updated. Now, if I go in here and view the queue, you can see group 41 is there, so it's got dimmer in there, and it hasn't got position because it's from group 1. I haven't put it in group 1. I put it into group 41. Now, traditionally, as I say, you would normally you would clone a head. I don't actually need to do that anymore with group queues. So if I remove that head out, it's gone, and I patch in, let's say for some reason they've given me 2 spot trusses. So I'm going to say another 12 of these, at universe 65, starting at, I might not have enabled 65, so let's go for 63, starting at channel 1, enter. So it's patched in those, and they're starting at 2023. Okay, I'm going to leave them at 2023 for now. I'm going to make a group of those, just because I can, and I'm going to call this Spot Truss 2. There's no programming for these at the moment. If I bring down the fader here, you can see those spots are off. The front spots are on, but these are completely off. There's nothing happening with those at the moment because they're not in the group. So now with group Qs, what I can simply do is I could take the original group and those, and I could re-record that group, make one big group, and of course it would update. Now with group Qs, there's an even nicer little trick you can do. Rather than actually just put it into one group, what I could do is I could take a group 41 here, and as I always say, all the good stuff's under shift. As I hold my shift key down, you can see I get a clone group button at the top. Clone group, select group to clone, front spot group, clone it to my second truss spot group here, and then I get asked select item to clone into. So I could say actually we're just on this Q stack only, or if I hit enter, it's basically going to say clone this group in all Qs. So basically wherever group 41's used, now also use group 32 as well. There you go, and you can see it straight away in that queue. Now when I bring this up and down, you can see that's in that queue. It's in my intensity queue here. If I view the queue, it's actually cloned the data. You can see group 32 is in there with exactly the same information. So I've retained independent kind of control of the groups without just merging it into one group. I've just quickly cloned it onto those new heads. Great, I've got my two spot trusses. So the patching in process should be nice and quick. Okay, we would always advise, morph in your heads. So I've gone from my Vipers to my MK2 spots. And then, okay, I had a different number. So either I'm just going to add them to the group, or maybe I had a whole nother truss. So I'm going to clone the group and bring that over. Just looking in the chat here, what have we got in the chat? Question from George. How do I make the robotics from the previous queue to the next queue in dark without showing their colours and moves while going to the next queue? Okay, I think you're talking about move in dark there. Steve's already replied. If I get a chance, I'll talk move in dark. A little bit theatrical, but yeah, if I get a chance before the end of the session, I will have a look at it, but we will make sure if we don't do it today, we cover that in another Training Tuesday. Now, there's one more thing I did just want to talk about while we've got you today. So we've patched in. Okay, we've done the usual. We've cloned. We've morphed our heads over. We've talked about putting into groups. We've cloned groups to another group. Now, as you might get at a festival, Chip's designed this for a lovely outdoor stage. Now, what happens if actually this isn't an outdoor stage? It's now become an indoor, your typical kind of marquee or clear stage that's got king poles going down it, and they've tried to be all arty and they've put some LED bars down the king poles. So I've patched in. Okay, rig on the stage looks like this. Excellent. And then the house guy says to me, you can do anything with those bars that are going down the king poles. Well, I've got 3 minutes till doors open or till a band come on stage. And what am I going to do? I certainly haven't got time to start programming. I haven't got time to start doing anything, adding a new color picker for those, putting it into my soft palettes, etc. I've just about got time to patch these heads. So I say, okay, well, what are these? Okay, well, luckily there's some Chauvet Pro pars. What are they? Well, there's some color dash pars. There we go. They've put color dash par quad 18s in there. And they've put them in 10 channel mode, and there's 8 of them. So we're going to patch 8 of them in. And they happen to be at universe 61, starting at channel 1. Enter. So we've got 8 of them patched in. I'm just going to locate them so you guys can see them. I'm going to go to my view viz window and go selected heads, and I'm just going to move them down here. I'm going to fan them out like so. So there you go. There's my pars that have been put down the king poles of the stage. I've done no programming. I've now got 1 minute until the band come on stage, and I really don't know what I'm going to do with them, but I like to do something. Well, actually, why don't I just tell them to do whatever my spots are doing. Whatever the spots do, I'm going to tell those pars to do. So here's where something called a live copy master comes in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab group 12 here. I'm going to grab group 12. I'm not going to touch my program. I'm not going to locate, touch any attributes, etc. I'm simply going to record that as a queue here, and it's turned it into an intensity master. Actually, I'm not going to do that. I'll take that back. I'm going to delete that. I'm actually going to locate them so they come on open white, and I'm now going to record that as a queue here. So at the moment, I've just got an open white queue. Well, that's not so great programming on those. I can't just do that. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to triple tap my select button, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to go to view options, and I'm going to go across to my function tab. And under function, you've got this option here that says QStack is a live copy master, and I'm going to set that to yes, and I'm going to choose a group for it to copy. In my case, I'm going to choose my front spots, which are group 41. So I'm going to set that to here, live copy ID group 41. So I'm going to type in 41, enter, and you can see it's now set to front spots. And now when I bring this fader up, these will now copy whatever my my spots are doing. So if I bring them down, you can see they've gone off. They're copying whatever they do. If I go into my color picker and I set my spots to red, you can see the pars here have gone red. If I set them to yellow, they've gone yellow, and they'll even, if I put things like intensity chases on, so okay, I've set them to magenta here. If I pull down the intensity, if I grab group 41 here just on its own, and I said, okay, I know we've got some intensity effects, but just for speed, I'm going to say, okay, add effects, intensity, and I'm going to put, say, a dimmer chase on those, and I take the width down a little bit, there we go, something like that, and let's speed it up a bit. You can see the pars are copying, so the pars down my king poles, but I've got a fader. It's called a live copy master, because actually at the moment I don't want them to copy. But okay, when it gets to this point, I do want them to copy. So I've basically got a fader, a temp fader. I can bring in and out and say, okay, well, when I want it, the pars down the king pole of a temp are going to copy whatever my front spots are doing. We call it a live copy master. It's tagged by attribute. So you remember when I recorded that, I did grab the group and I located to put everything in the programmer. If I just put dimmer in the programmer and record the cue, it would only copy the intensity from one to the other. I'm just taking a look in the chat. Mario said, what's the fastest way if I've got new moving heads on the floor instead of hanging on the truss? So if I flip the position, can I fix it also in the patch window? Yes, you can. So Mario, I mean, I'm not sure if the question there is saying, you know, you suddenly end up with spots that you designed your show for the front truss and you ended up with them on the front truss and the floor. Well, if you ended up with that, then absolutely you're going to patch in some more spots, the right number you need. What I would do is, again, in my case here, you know, I patched in another 12. Okay, well, let's say for all intents and purposes, you know, those are on the floor. So if I go to my patch window and I go to view viz, I'm going to attach objects, and just for ease, I'm going to drop a pipe in. There's my pipe. If I bring that down there and I bring it across, let's chuck it in the middle there, and let's make this pipe 12 meters long. And if I actually type in 12, enter. Forget the right box. There we go. 12, enter. So I've made that a 12 meter long pipe. Let's center it off a little bit, something like there. Let's grab those here. It's those spots here, and I'm going to say fit to object, and I'm going to chuck it on my pipe, just in a quick way of arranging one there. You can see them there. Now if I go to my attach object, the reason I've done that is because it allows me, I can just quickly flip these around, he says. If I grab the right option, the pipe there, that's the one. So let's grab my pipe here. Let's go. I did have the right one first time, I just clicked the wrong thing. So there's the spots here. There we go. There's my spots. They're on that pipe. I'm just going to not go that way, going to go that way and spread them out a bit. So okay, I've got some spots on the floor now. Now in terms of positions, what am I going to do with those? Well, I've got them, obviously the intensity stuff's easy. Absolutely, you know, you could, if I've cloned positions, which I didn't do because I just added more, you know, another reason for cloning. But yeah, absolutely, you could if you want to. If I grab these two together now, so if I shift and select the two groups here and I locate them, if I go to my position window and I tilt, you can see, of course, I've got the usual thing of half going one way, half going the other. Absolutely, if that was me there, I'd want them going the same way. So I'm going to grab half of these spots here, wherever they were, somewhere down here in my patch window, and use something like a tilt invert. So they're going to flip around and go the other way, like so. There you go. So now I've got them going the same way there. There we go. Lovely. Okay, I'm just checking on YouTube if there are any other questions in there. George, I'm afraid we didn't get into Move and Dart, but definitely do take a look at Move and Dart. We've definitely done plenty of YouTube videos on that. Question there, will this be uploaded to YouTube? I missed the start, would love to see it again. Yes, it is. Yeah, so you can see all 3 of these sessions so far there on YouTube live. If you go over to the ChamSys channel on YouTube, go over to the live tab there, you'll see the 3 lives there. And we have another one next week as well, which finishes off our final session on our kind of our using Magic Cube for kind of your Get Festival ready type thing for the summer. So we do monitor the chats in both YouTube and Facebook during the week. So if you are watching this in a week's time, have any questions, please do feel free to drop it in the chat. I'm more than happy to answer those later on as well. If not, we'll see you next week for another Training Tuesday.